We've been driving around, singing songs way too loud because we wanna. Picking up all our friends, fill up the car till it bends because we wanna. Yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trunk's full of wine. We're gonna stay up, have the time of our lives. The night is young, don't need anybody else. We came to party all night long, and we don't need no chaperone. We don't need nobody's attention, yeah, we just wanna dance on our own. We came to party all night long and sing along to every song. We don't need nobody's attention, don't need nobody else in our zone. Making plans up as we go, worried as when no one knows just how we want it. Going left, going right, doesn't matter tonight, just how we want it. Yeah, we just wanna have fun. The trunk's full of wine. We're gonna stay up, have the time of our lives. The night is young, don't need anybody else. We came to party all night long, and we don't need no chaperone. We don't need nobody's attention, yeah, we just wanna dance on our own. We came to party all night long and sing along to every song. We don't need nobody's attention, don't need nobody else in our zone.
When we first decided on this map for this collaboration project, I saw this little heart-shaped landlocked beach that was on the map. I said, "Ooh, can I please have that area?" And so everyone was very kind to let me have this area. And essentially what we're building today is called the Heartbeat. It's an area of our city that never sleeps, and there's always something going on. So thanks to Jukaboa setting us up in the first episode, we have all forms of public transportation. So the first thing I wanted to do was get a basic road layout done and then think about bringing over as many forms as public transportation as I could. We end up bringing everything over except for the rail. So the first thing I did was bring over the tram network, and then I'm going to send it across the highway so that way it can be hooked into other builds in the city. And I'm really excited about creating as much connectivity as possible with other builds. Then we've got the monorail here, and it was requested that I bring that along the water, which I think will fit very well. Please, builders, feel free to move this and change it how you need to. So that was really interesting to pull all this through without knowing what's going to get built in these areas, but I just wanted to make sure it was there for people to connect into if needed. And then I also wanted to make sure no matter what form of transportation, you could get to the Heartbeat. So I struggled a little bit getting the metro, the at-grade metro to come under the highway here, but I ended up, thank goodness to move it, getting it to look pretty good, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So now that we have all the forms of public transportation coming over, I want to start thinking about laying down I want to have 2 stations here for public transportation. So we're going to have our at-ground metro connecting with our tram and then a local bus. And then on the other side, I wanted to bring in the trolley bus with the monorail and then also connecting into the local bus that will service this entire area. I'm really, really happy with how the public transportation fit into this build. Thought it would be really fun to bring the monorail right into the center of this little heart at the top of the build, and then bring the trolley buses in and have them have a nice little turnaround and endpoint here, and then make a space to hook up to our local bus network as well. Then I went into laying down the grid. So I wanted this area to be very gridded, very formulaic, to complement kind of the fun and crazy shape of the heart, and it ended up working out really well as a grid in this area. So I'm glad that I went with that. Next thing I did was thinking about what types of roads that I want in this area, and then additional pedestrian connectivity, because this will be an extremely walkable area. You really will only be using your cars, maybe if you live in the area. Of course, people could drive here to visit, but essentially I'm making it so you just take public transportation and you come to the heartbeat. The other thing I wanted to think about was making sure all of our bike roads were connected up so that you could bike through the area easily as well. Then I used a one-way direction in the mixture with two-way streets and pedestrian streets throughout the grid, just to give a variety and to help keep the flow of whatever traffic we did have moving through the area smoothly. Once I had all my roads in, then I focused on putting in the 2 turnaround connections for the local bus network that will service the heartbeat area, and making sure they were connected up to these transit hubs that I was putting together. So then you look at a build this size and it can feel overwhelming. Where do you start? How do you start? It is a lot of space to fill, a lot of things to build, and it can feel very overwhelming. The way that I approach something like this is start with a small area and just keep working block by block. So I decided to start with this at-ground transportation hub with the metro and the tram coming in and the local bus connection, and just focused on getting this looking right and just starting in a small area. I think looking at a build in small pieces like this really helps you achieve the final goal, because if you look at a project this size, you're like, where do I even start? How do I get started? How am I going to do this? Because it's a very large project. But I think if you just take little sections at a time, fully detail them, work your way through them, and then just keep moving block by block, it's not as overwhelming when you break it up into small pieces. And I find this type of level of detailing really rewarding. It's what I like to do the most. So, you know, after I get the basic infrastructure down, it's really fun for me to work at this level of detail piece by piece. So that's what I did here for this build. I had a lot of fun. I love the idea of creating these little pergolas as places for the trams to stop. Raid Kitty just did that in her build that she just did for us with her waterfront boardwalks. And so I saw that and I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to use that idea in my place. So thank you, Raid, for the idea of that. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. Those are so cute. So I just made sure to mirror that on each side here using some of the other props as well. And then of course bringing in some large parking into the area to complement the amount of visitors that I'm sure that we will have in the heartbeat. I'm really happy with how this first transportation hub turned out. I think it looks really beautiful and lush, and it just feels like a place you want to be, and you do feel like you're arriving to somewhere very special. Now that I had the area right around the metro station and where the trams were going to come in, I started focusing on the next little area. Again, if you just work piece by piece, something like this is not as overwhelming as you would imagine. Just take a little section or square at a time and just work your way through. Again, for me, this is something that I really enjoy, this level of detail, this level of taking my time and just making each little place feel special. Now, even though the Heartbeat is all about entertainment, there are still people that want to live right in the heart of the action, that would want to live in a place like this. So it's really important to me around this main transit hub that I make sure I include things like grocery stores and restaurants and shopping and city services for the people who do decide to make the Heartbeat their home. So it's really important that this area kind of had a bit of a town square type feel while being very beautifully landscaped and welcoming to visitors. Now, when it came to the residential zoning of this area, I went with the low density mid-century modern for part of it, and then I did some of the colorful wall-to-wall buildings. I felt like the combination of these two made the most sense, and also with the mid-century modern you get this kind of vibe with the pools and the palm trees I was looking for. So everything zoned in really quickly, which I was so happy with, and everything looked really good. What I did here was just go through again block by block once I had all of my service buildings in, everything that I wanted in the town area, and then just going through and adding in a little bit of detailing around the buildings, just again making the space feel alive. I love using detailing in this way and just seeing where we need to bring in a little bit more color and some more palm trees, of course. I was so happy with how this area came out. I think it looks fantastic. I was so happy with it. And this is just one side of the heart too. So this is kind of our residential zone, again, where people will live and shop. Everything else is going to be very entertainment focused. But yeah, and then I love the view from here to the city as well. I think this works really beautifully. And of course I have to get back down on a first person view. This is how I know if I'm completely done with an area. And right here I knew that I needed to change up the type of pedestrian roads because we need to have shade. This is a very hot area, and so it's going to be really important to provide some trees on these pedestrian roads that give shade because we are encouraging lots of walkability in the area. Of course, I had to try out a bunch of different trees to see which ones I liked. I almost went with these purple trees. I did think that they looked really pretty, but these umbrella trees really give a good amount of shade, so I ended up going with those. And then I ended up going with some palm trees on the roads near our higher density. I wanted to make a connection here for our tram. I thought that was really important, so that way we would have 2 stops in the community. And then I had the idea to bring in our big statue. That way, if you were coming down the highway, you would be like, oh, we're almost at the Heartbeat. There it is. I really wanted a big centerpiece like this near the highway. I thought it was a really fun idea, and I really like how it turned out. And thank goodness for Move It that you can put something like this down that you would normally only be able to have on the water, so it turned out really good. The next thing I did was just work on kind of filling out these little corners in between our tram and where our gridded neighborhood, bring in some of the high density green cities and lots of detailing, again, just to make everything feel complete and make sure there were no harsh edges anywhere in the build. I kept the landscaping in between our highway and our metro and our tram very simple, but still providing shade for pedestrians who wanted to walk on our pedestrian tram road. I really liked the elevated plaza across from our statue. I felt like that worked really well. And I thought the area just looked much nicer with these detailed line of bushes, just kind of made it feel complete. And then again, just some simple detailing here along our main road in. Then I jumped into our downtown. So we are encouraging all the builders and the guest builders in this series to each contribute a little bit to the downtown because it is such a large space to fill out on your own. So I decided to do these 3 small blocks here and really pull everything together by creating a transit hub. we've got our regular buses meeting up here, our tram and our trolley buses, and I just thought it might be nice to have a bit of a transit center on this side of the downtown as we're kind of moving out into whatever else that gets built in the area. So again, just bring in lots of detailing, pedestrian connectivity, and doing a mixture of offices and commercial. I really liked the combo in this area and just the freedom of being able to pull in different buildings from different styles with the mods that we're using for this build. So that made things much more fun and just available for creativity to have like a Heart of Korea building next to you know, different styles. Anyways, I really had a fun time with this, and I can see why other builders really love using mods that allow you freedom to kind of put buildings wherever you want, no matter the zoning or the type. So I get it. This was a lot of fun for me. So again, just going through selecting some fun buildings I thought matched in the area across from the pool, just kind of sticking with a bit of an entertainment and shopping theme in this area, along with mixing in some offices. There was also a place across the street from the blocks I was putting in where there was some empty space, so I decided to bring in some more Green Cities residential and some more detailing into that area, just to kind of help fill everything out. But I'm really happy with how these couple of blocks came together. I think they just turned out really nice, and I just loved mixing all the different styles of buildings together. So again, like I said, I bring in some residents into this area and just some detailing just to kind of fill up a bit of an empty space that I saw here, and just kind of helping to fill out our downtown. I actually really enjoy coming into a space like this that's already half built out and just coming in and bringing some detailing and adding some more buildings in. I really enjoy that and just kind of help filling in all the little blank space, especially in a dense downtown area like this. But yeah, you guys will have to let me know what you think. This was my addition to the downtown little transit hub, and yeah, I really like the layers and heights of the buildings here. I think everything turned out really nicely. So I'm super excited to see what other builders bring to the downtown as well. Okay, we're back in the heartbeat, and now we're going to work on our kind of the area that's going to be the main entrance. I've gone ahead and put down a bike path and a pedestrian path. I like separating the two, just kind of gives a little more interest. And I knew I wanted to bring in, again, a statement building. So when you're driving up, you're like, I know where I am. This is so cool. Let's have a good time. So I thought the Sphinx really worked well in this area for that. And again, in this build, I did a lot of detailing. I just did what I love to do in City Skylines, which is just create these big kind of park type like builds. I really like doing. They are a lot of fun. It was really important to me in this kind of entrance to the heartbeat that everything still felt very exciting and really well landscaped, and like you have arrived, you're at the place, you're ready to have fun. So it's important for me to bring in some really key pieces into this front portion of the build that normally you might only see if you were, you know, really deep into an area. So it was really important to me to bring in some of these really fun entertainment pieces right at the beginning. I really wanted this whole place to just be fun from the moment you arrived. And I think landscaping is a big part of how an environment feels. So it's really important for me throughout the whole build just to bring in lots of color, lots of lushness, and just have everything feel exciting. So like I said, I brought in some pieces here just to make things feel like things are happening right off the bat. So bringing in some of these really fun buildings from the amusement park, and this really fun like snake and spider building that we got with the Africa miniature. I just feel like if you saw that, you're like, yeah, I'm in the place, we're ready to have some fun. So then it was important for me to do this heart area. I really liked having the monorail stop in the middle, and I wanted to use these really beautiful vanilla trees that are super colorful. I know some people love them and some people hate them. I love them. I think they are beautiful. And I do hope we get some really nice colorful trees in Cities Skylines too. So far it's looking just green. I'm not seeing a lot of flowers or colors, so I do hope that's something that we get, because I do love bringing in color where I can. But this heart was so fun for me. I really love how it turned out. Again, if you were arriving on the monorail, you know you're in the place. You know you're ready to have some fun, and it's just looking lush and beautiful. You're ready to have a good time. So, and I really like doing the bridge. I think that ended up working out really nicely as well. And to cap off the top of the heart, just went with a lot of lush landscaping, lots of trees, a little bit of color. Again, just making this place feel very special. I really, really loved how this whole kind of entrance area turned out. I think it looks really, really nice. I hope that you guys are enjoying this so far. Okay, at this point, the outside of the heartbeat is almost complete. But we were so close to the ocean here, and I thought for this type of vacation place, you would want to have an actual beach that you could go to. You would want to have access to the water, to the ocean. So I decided to build this little beach area here, and then use some of the assets that you would place on the water. But I like having them where they are. The first part is attached at the land, and the second part is just slightly in the water. It gives the illusion that you could like swim out to this dock, which I really like doing in these types of builds. I've done this before, and I really like using these assets in this way. The other thing that I wanted to do in this area is, this is the area that I decided to focus our hotels in for the area. So that way you were near the beach, but also near the center of the heartbeat. I felt like this was such a good location. Also bring in some sort of activities here near the water as well was really important to me in this area. But again, just kind of creating that fun vibe. In this area, what I wanted to do was kind of bring a more nature approach, somewhere where you could jump off into the water and go swimming, more of a swimming hole type vibe versus, you know, sitting and laying out on the beach. It kind of a more nature vibe, and I really like how this turned out. The other thing I did is just bring a little bit of land up to this area, just so I could kind of create a little bit of a protective cove. So that I felt like just made the whole area feel very inviting and somewhere you could feel safe swimming. So I really like how this little area turned out, and it's definitely a spot I would want to go down, jump off in the water, or spend the day. I loved how this whole area came together. I finished off this nature area with just adding a bit more trails, some more viewing decks, and then I come back and do some landscaping in this area later on. Again, like I said, this is my area where I really wanted to focus the hotels in this area. So I tried to even pick residents that would almost look like an Airbnb or a bed and breakfast to mix in between the hotels, because I actually didn't want to bring too many actual hotels to the area, because there was already so many people coming to the heartbeat and we hadn't even put anything in the middle yet. I did get concerned with traffic, so I decided just to put in a much smaller amount of hotels than I had originally planned, but I think it worked out really well. And I just tried to bring in a nice mixture of assets that made sense in the area. And again, I really like the whole vibe of this area down by the beach. It's really relaxing and somewhere you would definitely want to come vacation. And that is the point of this whole project. The next thing I did was I wanted to create a place to get married. I wanted to create a wedding venue, and who wouldn't want to get married where you're looking out into the ocean? So preserving the view here was really important to me, and then just creating this tucked away private place where you could go and have your wedding. So that was my intention here, and I think it turned out really cool. I love how it all came together. and just kind of a really fun place to celebrate these types of special days. Plus, I don't think I've ever seen anyone really intentionally build like a wedding venue in Cities Skylines. So it's something I've always wanted to do. So I thought this was the perfect place to do it. Again, I just finished off this section of the build with bringing in things that would fit into this area. Really focusing on, what looks like a cool place to eat or drink, or what looks like an Airbnb type building. Just kind of going with that vibe. And I really like the mixture of the buildings in this area. I think they turned out really, really nicely. Again, I'd want to come here. Maybe not like the center heartbeat area because I'm older now. I'm kind of like past the partying days, but a place like this, I would love, 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 love. So then I came back to the beach here and decided we needed to have a bunch of really nice chairs to come out. I think my major complaint whenever I've been on vacation, there's never enough chairs with umbrellas. So I made sure to put a ton so everyone can have one. And then I made a little area over here with some beach towels. And I really think this turned out super cute. You guys will have to let me know what you think of this area. Last thing I wanted to do is bring in more parking in this area, add a few more buildings, and then just use landscaping to kind of cap or finish off the area, but also leave it open so if another builder who wants to build right next to me, they can utilize the monorail. They could always, delete some of the landscaping here connecting to the pedestrian path or even the pedestrian road near the water. Creates lots of opportunity for anyone who wants to connect in, but also kind of caps off the build in a nice way if something doesn't get built right next door. I was getting really excited here because I knew once I finished this last piece of landscaping, I could move on and start working on the actual heartbeat, the heart of the build, pun intended, which I was really excited about, but I just wanted to make sure everything felt complete. Okay, let's pause. We're going to take a little break here. This is the heartbeat so far. The outside of the heart is done, complete. We are hooked up to public transit. Our roads are connected. Everything's built out. Now we get to dive in and work on the actual heart. If you have hung around this long, if you're still here watching the video, drop a little heart emoji for me in the comments and let me know what you liked so far. So the plan for the center of the heart is to create the ultimate outdoor concert area. How cool would it be to come to a place like this and go to the concert in the landlocked beach heart, sunken? I just thought that was so cool. So I really had fun with this whole concept. I have to give a very special shout out to No Mercy, who's a very active member of the Cities Skylines community and the City of Friends Discord if you hang out over there. So No Mercy showed me how to look for sub buildings using Find It. And because of that, he turned me on to being able to use the amphitheater from the Central Park asset on its own. Now, we've always needed an amphitheater, and to be able to access that with just using Find It blew my mind, and I was so excited because I knew I was going to use it for this build. So thank you, No Mercy, for showing me your magic ways of Find It. And that was really, it just really changed the whole build, because then it just made it feel complete to have our outdoor concert DLC, but also to bring in the amphitheater was just really fun for me. The other thing that was really important to me is there is this fun park that you get with the DLC's concert, which is basically like if you can't afford to go to the concert or if there's overflow, you can come and watch the concert here. I wanted to place the building there near the Ferris wheel because that way, my thought was, if you were on the Ferris wheel, you would be able to get a view of the concert actually going on, but you would also be close enough to watch the screens down below you at the fun park. And I just thought that would be a really fun thing to have. So that's why I placed that building there. Then I just carefully took my time and thought about bringing in, you know, different assets for food vendors or maybe merchandise vendors for the concert. So really just thinking of these buildings being different uses. This part of the build was so fun for me, just mixing different buildings and assets and just, again, trying to create a vibe that I would want. I've been to a lot of outdoor concerts in my day. Going to live music was a big part of what I did when I was younger. Loved going to concerts. Haven't been to one in a long time, but just trying to create like the ultimate place that I would have loved to go see a concert at. So again, just really thinking about these kind of little places to get something to eat, something to drink, maybe, you know, buy a souvenir, things like that. So, and then what I did is I created these little essentially outdoor pool, landlocked beach areas. I thought in a tropical environment like this, if you were able to come and grab a chair with an umbrella and get some drinks and watch the concert from above, I thought that would be so fun. And I just love the concept of kind of creating these, you know, sit in the pool and view the concert, you know, while enjoying a beverage. I just thought that would be a lot of fun. So I had a lot of fun kind of creating these nice viewing places with all the chairs and the umbrellas. Again, just kind of creating a vibe, which I really just had fun with. I hope you guys like how this kind of like landlocked beach area turned out. I think it looks super cute. So then what I did leading up towards the amphitheater was, again, just bring in a few more assets and, again, focusing on places to eat, little shops, entertainment, things like that. And then along the backside, I was even able to bring in some other parks, kind of making some picnic areas for a bit more of a family vibe. And then also I thought such a cute little area to bring in the trampoline park, and it fit really well. So I was happy with how that turned out. But yeah, I really like this kind of sunken heart concert area, the heartbeat. I hope you guys like really like the vibe as much as I do. I loved building this, and just, you know, imagining going to a concert here would be just so much fun. I really liked how the whole area turned out. Once I felt the concert area was complete, I focused my attention on these kind of upper level areas where you would get a nice view down into the heartbeat. So I created some just really nice viewing platforms and picnic areas. The other thing I did was bring in a few buildings behind the concert venue that maybe would be where the band would hang out and things like that. So just thinking of that. Yeah, I just really love the mixture of bringing in some park assets and just really creating some nice vista views that you could enjoy maybe the sounds of the concert and get a little peek while not having to like be at the concert. But yeah, I really liked how these little areas turned out, and just, again, trying to create a nice little vibe in every single pocket was really important to me. And then I brought that vibe through to the other side. Again, like I said, adding the trampoline park. It fits so well in this area. I think it looked really cute. And again, just creating some nice views and vistas and places you could, you know, grab a picnic table and sit and eat and enjoy the view from up top. I just really liked that whole concept. Okay, I want to take a minute to slow things down a little bit and look at the finished product of the inside of the heart, and I want to get some first-person views just to see how this feels. The trick is finding someone that's like almost walking all the way through, which can be hard sometimes because a lot of times they're just going to something that's very close. We'll just keep looking here. The struggle is real. Okay, this works. Oh, we've got our view of the statue lined up perfectly. Oh, I'm obsessed. What a fun place. Wow. Okay, let's see if we can catch one more. Oh, I like this so much. And the little beaches. Oh my gosh. Oh, so cute. Okay, let's see if we can get someone walking the other direction. Yes. You guys have to let me know in the comments. What do you think so far? Are you obsessed like I am? Have I lost my mind? I think this is so great. I love it. All right, let's get back to it. We still need to finish the 2 other parts to the heart here. So yeah, I love the view from here. It's so great. Okay, let's get back to it. All right, so I've selected a bunch of items I know I want, but we're dealing with some funky space limitations because of the heart. So I'm just going through and seeing where things fit, and then we will detail around them. Usually what I would do is just go section by section and kind of select some buildings as I was going, but being that we're dealing with some buildings that are kind of tricky in size, I wanted to make sure I could fit them all in. So I got everything down, and then I just go through and detail inch by inch every little bit, just like I've done so far in this build, just taking my time, going section by section. Like I said, it's a way not to feel overwhelmed in a project, but you can still get a lot done if you just take it a little piece at a time. And hang with me a little bit longer, we're getting really close to the end. So as I was going along, I had placed down this really beautiful hotel that we got with the Heart of Korea, I believe, but then I realized it was facing the wrong way because we had these lovely balconies, and if you were at this hotel, you would want the balconies facing to the heart, so I moved the building around. I'm really happy with how that turned out. My goal with this whole outer area of the heart was to bring in some of these unique buildings that I wanted, like this birthday party park, and then section by section bring in things like restaurants and shopping and entertainment and things like that as it made sense around, and just doing a nice mixture of buildings. And again, on the outer edge where the cars are is bringing things that would be useful for the residents who live right across, and things like parking. So just kind of focused on that, and again, just going bit by bit, filling things in, bringing detailing. I really love this type of building. It is my favorite, just detailing piece by piece. I really loved how everything came together, how it looked, the lushness of the area, and just that I was able to get such a variety of entertainment pieces, shopping pieces, and just these unique buildings. I think everything ended up blending together really well. I really love these markets that we got with the African miniature and putting them right next to each other. It looks like one huge market, and I think it looked really nice across from our monorail. So I was really happy with how that turned out. But yeah, this whole area, I just think everything just kind of came together so well. I was so happy with how everything turned out. And these airport aprons are really handy. You know, we didn't have surface painter in this build, and there were a couple spots where those aprons were a lifesaver and just kind of really getting the aesthetic I was going for. So that made me really happy. Here I just kept more of open space where we have our chirper balloon, because I felt like we didn't really need a lot of landscaping in that area. And again, these buildings from the Africa miniature that we got are perfect for this build. I love how funky they are, and they just fit right in. I was really happy with that. Oh, this took a while, but again, this is like the thing I love to do most. So this was so fun for me, and I just had a blast doing it. And the new parks that we got with the lakes, I was so happy I was able to fit both of them into this build. I didn't know if they were going to fit, but everything just fit perfectly, and I just was excited to create a place that I would like so want to come myself to vacation and just have a good time. Okay, I did it. The outside of the heart is done, and now we just have this core middle area. Okay, for the final touch of the heartbeat, I wanted to design 9 unique special parks, each one for one of the other builders, and the 9th one is for Shake. who was so kind to drop the vanilla theme at the perfect time. And just a little note, yes, we just announced that CityZilla will be joining us as a guest on this collab. This was recorded before that all came to be, so when I do my build next, we'll make sure to go back and add something in for CityZilla.
I saw the city passing by my window. Was in the crowd, but I felt so alone. Looked at my phone like every other second. My future was blurry and numb, a tunnel where there's no light. Oh, but then you came and sat right next to me. Your eyes, they glowed and filled me up. We had never met before that time, but I just knew that we'd end up. You took it, you took it, took away my loneliness. Oh, I know it, I know it. You're making me wholehearted. Together, together is always better. I don't want to be parted. You're making me wholehearted. You're making me wholehearted. We jumped off the subway leading nowhere. Your warm hands rubbed off the cold around me. I heard you say that everything is alright, but how did you know how I felt? You saw right through me that day. I was lost in space, but you pulled me down and wiped away those cloudy thoughts. I could see the sky when you were close to me. I can't believe what you brought. You took it, you took it, took away my loneliness. Oh, I know it, I know it. You're making me wholehearted. Together, together is always better. I don't want to be parted. You're making me wholehearted. You're making me wholehearted. I will always remember it. How you turned everything around. I will always remember it. How you got me off the battleground. How you got me off the battleground. Yeah. You took it, you took it, took away my loneliness. Oh, I know it, I know it. You're making me wholehearted. Together, together is always better. I don't want to be parted. You're making me wholehearted. You're making me wholehearted.
Up next Sunday is Cities by Steven, so come back and join us for that. Come say hi in the City of Friends Discord. I hope you all have a joyful day, and I'll catch you next time.